news coming in. Sanitation workers who were protesting for 13 consecutive days were arrested, detained last night. This was a crackdown, a midnight crackdown on sanitation workers when their protest entered their 13th day. Last night it was a swoop in by the Chennai Police who came in and who detained these sanitation workers. This was outside the Greater Chennai Corporation's Ripon building, following a Madras High Court order to clear the protest site. Now, giving you some backdrop of what has been happening in the city of Chennai and what is this protest about. Around 800 sanitation workers have been opposing the civic body's move to privatize waste management in 2 zones. They were forcibly removed around midnight and were taken away in buses within 45 minutes. So for 13 consecutive days, hundreds of sanitation workers had hit the streets. They were employed with the National Urban Livelihoods Mission. They have been protesting in front of the Ripon building. They had demanded a rollback of the GCC's decision to privatize solid waste management services in Zone 5 and Zone 6. My colleague Dharani continues to stay with us. A midnight crackdown, detention of hundreds of sanitation workers, a swoop down within 45 minutes after a court order. Tell our viewers about what these demands have been of the sanitation workers who were protesting for the last 13 days.
Well, the Chennai Corporation has decided to privatize a solid waste management in 2 zones of Chennai, that is the Tiruvika Nagar zone and Roypuram zone. So Chennai city has a total of 15 zones, and in most of these zones, solid waste management has already been privatized, and now the civic body has a plan to further this privatization in 2 more zones, that is the Roypuram zone and the Tiruvika Nagar zone. But around 800 sanitation workers who are employed in these zones, they are against this privatization. They say that if private players come into play, their salaries might see a great reduction. Right now, they are getting somewhere around 21 to 22,000 per month, and this might reduce to 15 to 16,000, which will not be enough for them to manage their monthly expenses, is what they say. And they're also fearing that there won't be any job security, and that the number of working hours and exploitation might increase. So these are the concerns that are being raised by the sanitation workers who have been protesting for the past 13 days.
Okay.
Despite multiple rounds of talks between the protesting workers and the Chennai Corporation, no compromise has been arrived at. And yesterday night, around 3 a.m. in the morning, the Chennai Police forcibly removed and evicted these protesters from the protest site. They've been protesting in front of the Chennai Corporation's building. And last night, around 3 a.m., majorly women protesters, among all of them, they were forcibly evicted from the location. We could see them crying and screaming and, telling the police personnel to not manhandle them. But despite all the cries for help, they were forcibly removed from the spot, evacuated from the spot, and this is following a Madras High Court direction based on a PIL filed by an individual alleging traffic congestion and inconvenience. So let's wait and see how the political discourse is going to be in connection with this in the coming hours and days.
All right. So a midnight crackdown on sanitation workers who were on protest for the last 13 days. Their demands continue to stay. What turn will this case take? We'll tell you more about it. But thank you, Dharani, for joining us. With that, we are also shifting focus to another